So what we have here is we have your situation, the foundation and what has led to the situation, what is blocking you, what is unknown to you, and then what the angels are recommending that you do in the month of September. Now, good news, Pisces, you don't have any major arcana, so that means you have a little bit of control. You know, major arcana, those are huge, they're pivotal, they're big things, they're big rocks, they're life lessons, they're also destined, they're fated, they're controlled by the divine. We don't have a lot of control with those, but you don't have those. You have minor arcana, or pip if you want to call them that, which means you have control. You have more control in this situation, and that's good. You're at the steering wheel, you're at the helm, so you take control and run with it. Now, you have two summer cards, traditional tarot. Those would be cups, emotions. You have a spring, that would be wands, fire. And then you have an autumn card, which would be coins, earth. Now for your situation right out the gate, you have 5 of summer. And at the bottom it says, trust that there is a reason for everything that happens. Remove yourself from the negative emotions of others, focusing on that which frightens or worries you. And you know, we should always be in like a state of calmness and a state of peace. But when we're really worried and afraid and upset and distraught, we won't be calm. We won't be peaceful. And what we will do is we will just focus in on those things that are upsetting us and making us unhappy. And that's where you're at, because a number of you are going through some heartbreak right now. You've had like a breakup, a loss, an emotional loss. And you're really focused on the things that you don't have. You're focused on how things are not going well. Things are not going in your favor. Things are, you feel like things are just falling apart in shambles. So you're not feeling optimistic. You're not looking at the potential opportunities and things that you have. See how she's in a fight or flight kind of stance? She's like really torn, not really knowing what to do. I don't know if I should bolt out of here. I don't know if I should stay in here. I don't know what the heck is going on. I've got too much anxiety, too much worry, too much fear. It's just spiraling out of control and I'm just stuck. Now in the traditional tarot or gilded, this is, you know, it's crying over spilt milk. So you'll have that figure and he has, you know, the cups that are spilt over in front of him, and he just keeps staring at those because that's the loss. That's all he can focus on. While meanwhile, he's got a couple cups behind him that are upright. At any point, he can turn away from the things that he's lost because he doesn't even realize the new things that he has behind him. And that's where a number of you are at. You have lost someone. A situation has not gone in your favor, and you're totally focused on that. See how she's even like kind of facing the past. Her arm's kind of swinging to the future, but she's not swung around the future yet. She's not swung around to the opportunities that she has. And what has led to this, you have the 7 of summer. And at the bottom, it says, no more procrastinating. Your power comes from making a decision. Confusion that arises from overanalyzing the options. And this really is about too many options. Evaluating a large number of options. This is, you know, it also speaks about there being pros and cons to everything. Like, no matter what it is in life, it can be work, it can be career, it can be jobs, it can be a relationship, it can be, hey, do I have kids? Do I go on this vacation? Do I get this certificate? Everything has a pro and a con. So sit down and do your T-chart. Is it balanced? Are there more pluses than negatives? But this situation, it was off balance. There were more cons than negatives. And for a number of you, you are procrastinating, making a decision at this point, turning away from the cups that have spilled over because you're procrastinating, but they're trying to get you to stop procrastinating. This is a card that also speaks of our personal power. See how he has like this light coming from the tip of his finger, and it's like honing in, like I am focused. I've got like laser focus on something. You know, really honing in, making a choice, deciding what you want, making a plan to obtain that, and then doing that. Because the opposite is, overanalyzing, wishful thinking, just having our eyes in the sky, never really making a decision. Like traditional tarot, or I love my gilded tarot, it has a figure where they're standing there and they have these 7 cups that are floating above their head. And it's kind of like shiny squirrel syndrome. Like, ooh, I want that one. I want that one. Ooh, but I like that one. But I want that one. Ooh, I don't know which one I want. They're all so lovely. There were too many choices. And for some of you, it was love. It was too many choices in people. There were multiple parties, and you were not chosen. They chose someone else. And feel free to change the sexes accordingly. I'm going to go by what's on the cards and what I'm getting and being told. But if it sounds like your situation, sexes are different, go for it, change it. But I get that he chose a different woman. He chose someone else. For some, he was already bound, already connected in a marriage, in a commitment already to someone else. But that is what has led to your heartbreak, because there were too many choices, because you were not chosen. And for some of you, it could be that, you had some choices and, maybe you were trying to decide. I get for most of you, though, this is love. So I'm going to throw this out there. Maybe someone can pick up a little something that's not love related, but for majority of you, this is love related. But maybe you were trying to decide on jobs. Maybe there were a number of jobs and you just kept procrastinating. You weren't having the laser-like focus because you were like, I'm not sure, that one looks good, that one looks good. And, I don't really know. Since you spent so much time over analyzing and overthinking and not making a decision, you no longer have the opportunity that you really wanted. It's gone. You've lost out on that, which is why you're still in this state of emotional upset. Same thing. Those cups in front of you have tipped over. Those are no longer opportunities for you. But you have 2 other opportunities right behind you. But it does take turning around to realize, not all is lost. I haven't lost everything. It's okay. I'm still good. But what is blocking you is you have 3 of spring, and at the bottom it says, plan your next steps with an eye to the long term. Have patience. There are more good things to come. Satisfaction from a job well done. I'm noticing right off the bat that there's all this purple. A lot of you are hoping that this situation will transform, that it will blossom into a new beginning. But this card, in its meaning with this deck, it's all about, really working hard to accomplishing something, really putting in a lot of work, and, really wanting to reap our rewards. But those rewards take a little bit of time. Like, you've invested a lot, you've put a lot in there, but you're not going to see the return on that investment just yet. But during that experience, you've gained a lot of knowledge. And you now have some insight that you can use for future endeavors, future successes. But in the meantime, all you can do is have patience right now with the situation. But a lot of you just want assured confidence that this is going to be a success. Like, you've invested in it and you want to know what the outcome is and you want to see the outcome right now, but you're not at this point seeing it. And there's some information you're not receiving at this point as well. And it is hard to sit still and it's hard to sit still and wonder what is the outcome going to be, because when you have invested a lot in something, and I get for some of you that this was love, it's like he up and went in a different direction and you still don't even have like the clarity and information on it, but you're hoping, like, these are beautiful cherry blossoms, you're hoping that this is going to transform, it's going to blossom, you've got like this little butterfly, you're hoping, and for some of you, you're hoping that it will lead to a new home, to a commitment. You see, you've got this home in the background. For some of you, you're hoping, like, I've invested so much with him, I want to marry him, I want to have this foundation with him. I know he's not there right now. I know I'm alone right now. And I feel like I'm left holding the bag. See, she's got both of her hands holding these cherry blossoms up. I feel like I'm holding things up, and I'm also trying to entice him back. But I don't have any clarity. See how cloudy it is above that castle? You just feel like I have no clarity. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why he left. I don't know why I'm alone. It was going so well. But here I am, alone, without the rewards. They're saying that this is what's blocking you. What is blocking you is you are so, like you know, she's like staring straight ahead, very intense, like you are so, let me see if you guys can see that. Okay. You are so focused on, is this going to work? Is he going to come back? Is this going to turn around? Is this going to happen? That you aren't moving forward and doing the things that they're wanting you to do. You're not doing your healing. You're not doing, you're not finding like gratitude and thankfulness for the other things that you have in your life. Because for some of you, this has spiraled you down into a state of depression and sadness. And you're on your own, kind of like wallowing in despair. And for some of you, what's blocking you is 3. There's a third party. He's married to someone else. He's in a relationship, in a home, in a foundation with someone else. Some of you don't know. Okay, most of you don't know that. You are not aware of that. But that's what's blocking you. You're hoping that it's going to turn around. You're hoping that he's going to come back. You're hoping that things will blossom. You will get this happy ending that you have worked so hard for and that you desire. But at this point, you don't know the outcome and you don't have the clarity. And all that you can do at this point is just take the things that you have learned from this experience to better yourself, to heal yourself, and to prepare for the future. Be it with someone else for most of you. We'll come back to the rest of you on that other part of it. We'll rally back around to that at the end. So for many of you, this is preparing to take what you have learned to use with someone else. I know. Those of you that just heard that, you're like, but we want to know about the other half. I know. Patience. Patience. All good things will come. They want to tie it, though, to something toward the end. So that's good. You get to not have to hear me repeat stuff. It's a win-win, right? Okay. Now, as far as what is unknown to you, you have 7 of Autumn. And at the bottom it says, have patience. Again, patience twice. Take time to rest and plan your next steps. A prudent investment of time or money. And you see him, he's just chilling out on top of this pumpkin. You know, he's put a lot of time in, a lot of effort in, he's invested things, but it's going to take a little time for him to see his harvest. And sometimes, you know, the things that are the best rewards, the greatest, like look how huge that pumpkin is. I mean, that's a prize winning pumpkin there. But it takes time for it to ripen. Takes time for it to grow. It doesn't happen overnight. You don't just plant your seeds and bam, the next day you walk out and you have this massive award-winning pumpkin. It takes time. Things move slowly. And when things are moving slowly, we get really frustrated and irritated. Because we're at a point now that we want instant gratification. We want things now, we want them right away. But this is not a situation where you're going to have what you want right now, right away. You do need to have patience. You need to wait for things to come to fruition, for the things that you desire to manifest. And you may have planted seeds, you may have put in a lot of work and effort, but for some of you, there needs to be a reevaluation of your plan and some adjustments. And some of you, a complete change of plans so that you're ready for the next time to plant your seeds and prepare for harvest. But it's about diligence, not giving up, not over worrying, not over stressing. It can also be, you know, assessing the investment. You know, did it yield what you expected? Because for some of you, you had certain expectations. You expected this to work out, and it didn't. Why didn't it? Really look at the T chart. Was it a balanced give and take? Because if it wasn't, and it's not turned out as you hoped that it would turn out, what can you do differently next time? What are some, maybe some red flags or things that you can look for next time? What are things that you can do to do some inner healing and prepare yourself for next time? Because sometimes we're just so excited about the harvest. We're so excited to get that end point. Like, you could be so excited to move forward with this love of a lifetime, that you don't do a balance sheet. You're just so excited to get to the end that you're not sitting back and looking and realize, oh wow, this isn't balanced. Or, I planted the seeds, but he never came through and watered them, so they died. They started to bloom, but since he didn't water, because we were working on this garden together, it was a joint effort. So I went out and I planted those seeds, and I wish them each love, and they started to bloom. They were about an inch out of the ground, but then he didn't come through and water them because he was busy watering someone else's garden, or because he was busy with other things that just didn't think about it, because it really didn't matter. It wasn't at that level of importance or significance. So it withered up and died. But you didn't notice that he wasn't watering them because you were so excited. All you could do is picture this abundant harvest that you were going to have. You're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be great. I'm going to have an award-winning pumpkin. Oh my gosh, it's going to be amazing. Not realizing it wasn't growing. It wasn't growing. So for some of you, it was like one-sided. And this is what you're unaware of. So for some of you, what you're unaware of, to get the things that you want, the things that you desire, you do need to evaluate everything, evaluate your plan, evaluate your next steps. So for some of you, your next steps are really, we're going to cover those, but there's some healing that needs to be done. Gratitude, shifting your perspective, coming back into a place of optimism and a place of hope. Because he's almost kind of like hopeful. He's just sitting there, he's just chilling, he's eating his apples. He's like, you know what? It's going to work out when the time is right. When the time is right, it's all going to be good. But in the meantime, I'm just going to hang out. I'm going to nourish myself. I'm going to nourish my body and my soul. And I'm not going to really worry about any of that other stuff. I'm going to take care of me. That's what some of you need to do. You're not doing that because you're still spinning out of control, wondering about this person. And some of you are going to be discovering that indeed there was a third party. Someone else was chosen. For some, you're going to find out that that person's married to someone else. They're committed to someone else. You did not know that. Now, you had a feeling. Those of you in that situation, you had a feeling that something was going on, because in Pisces, you're a water sign. Water signs, I'm a Scorpio. We are very intuitive. Very, very intuitive. We are like we are walking lie detectors. It is really hard for people to pull something over on a water sign because we just know intuitively. So for those of you in this situation, you've known, but you haven't wanted to see it because, again, you were very focused on the harvest, very focused on the outcome. And as humans, that is something. Like, if we just meet someone that makes our heart pitter-patter, and we just, oh my gosh, we're like blown away. Like, they are what I've always wanted. They're the perfect complement of me. They're it. They're the one. It does make us throw all common sense and rational thinking and logical thinking out the window. We are all in our feminine, lovey-dovey, emotional side. But we have to come back into balance and look at things logically in everything in life. Now, as far as what it is that they are recommending that you do, you guys actually received a second card. We've also only got 3. You have blessings. And it says at the bottom, today I count my blessings, small and large, and I notice the new gifts that come to me from God. And this is really about coming back into a state of gratitude, being thankful for the things that we have. Because again, some of you are so focused on what you've lost, what you don't have, that you're not realizing all the good things that you have, the blessings that you do have. You're feeling sorry for yourself. You're in a pity, poor me state. And Some of you are feeling like your prayers are being ignored. You're like, I don't think anyone upstairs is paying attention anymore. I think they're tuning me out. And it makes me want to kind of rip my hair out because I've just had it. I've had it. I pray, I hope, I visualize. I'm doing all these things. I'm trying to bring this together and this is just not happening. And they're ignoring me. Y'all are ignoring me and I've had it, but they're not ignoring you. They are working on answering your prayers. You're just going to have them be answered a little bit differently than you're expecting them to be answered. Because many of you in this situation, you've got some serious expectations of how you want things to go down. But be flexible. Give them room to answer your prayers because they will answer them in a miraculous divine way. And you will find out that it's going to be better than what you anticipated and expected. But you need to give them some leeway to do that. You can't, like, you know, if you're doing a manifestation list, you can't be like, okay, I want a man who's 6'3", and he has to have blue eyes, and he has to work for this company, and he has to make this much money, and he has to drive this type of car, and he has to have no kids, and he has to be from a family that's very large. And because if you put all these expectations and you have all this criteria, well, maybe the love of a lifetime, maybe a soulmate type of love, maybe a divine love that they have for you doesn't fit in that box. Maybe the person that you're destined for doesn't meet that criteria. So what happens is the angels and God and Jesus are like, well, my hands are tied because, dang, she's put together one heck of a long list. I mean, you drag that bad boy out, it's like a scroll that rolls a couple blocks down the road. So she's limited us so much that we just can't find her anybody because we know it's going to make her happy. All those parameters, they're not going to work. So we're going to have to hold off on this love of a lifetime because she's not, her expectations are too high, too tight, too stringent, too rigid. She's not helping us help her. And that's where some of you are at this point. Be open, allow God, allow the angels to answer your prayers in the ways that they are going to answer it. Because they are. They've heard you. You still have blessings to be thankful for. And also to shift your perspective from, you know, what's gone wrong, what you've lost, what you're missing out on, what you do not have, to being thankful for what you do have. Because when we are in a state of loss, I don't have love. I don't have a relationship. I don't have the best job. I don't have the job that I want. I don't have this family that I want. I don't have the car that I want. Well, what happens is we start to notice in our life, we just getting a whole bunch of stuff that we don't want. Because that's what they're telling me. That's what we are telling the universe that we want. I don't have, I don't have, I don't have. So we keep getting more I don't have, I don't have. If we can shift that perspective to, I am so thankful that I have a roof over my head. I'm so thankful that I have a car that runs. I am so thankful that I have a job. I am thankful that I have a family that loves me. I am thankful that I have friends that love me and would do anything for me. If you can shift and start focusing on the things that you do have instead of what you do not have, you will notice more of the things that you've been praying for and asking for will start to manifest. They'll start to come in because you're coming from a place of, I have abundance. I have everything I need. I have everything I want versus I lack everything. I don't have anything. In September, focus on shifting that perspective because that's going to shift this and that's going to shift everything else. Because a lot of you, because you are so focused on this situation and you're focused on lack and what you don't have and worry and all that, it is affecting other areas of your life. So some of you are starting to have some issues with money, and some of you are even starting to have some like conflict and issues with friends. Switching your perspective is going to fix it all. Just try it. Just because they're saying some of you don't want to do that. So try it. Do it for 2 weeks. Get a gratitude journal. I think you're like the third sign that has to start doing a gratitude journal. So go get a notebook. Go to the store, get a tiny little notebook. Maybe it's something you can carry in your car, in your purse. If you're a guy, it probably won't fit in your back pocket. Throw it in your car. Or even use it at the end of the night. So you have a couple ways you can do a gratitude journal. You can write down the things that you are grateful for all day long. As something pops up, write it down. That way you'll get a thorough list. Or you can do the list at the end of the evening. Like if you have some routine, maybe you brush your teeth and you wash your feet and you jump in bed, you do your evening prayers. Well then, after your prayers, write down the things that you're grateful for. But do that every day. Every day for 2 weeks. Commit to me that you will do it for 2 weeks. And then I want to hear back from you in 2 weeks in this reading how your life has started to shift. But for 2 weeks, every single day, write down what you are grateful for, what you are thankful for. It may be small in the beginning. It may be, I'm thankful that, it didn't rain on us today. I'm thankful that the sun was out today. I'm thankful that it's cold in Ohio, but I have a fireplace that's controlled with an electronic remote that warms up me and my puppies. I am thankful for my Starbucks coffee. Whatever it is that you're thankful for. Initially, it's going to be small, and you have to write stuff that you're thankful for every day, even if it's small. But you'll find that the things you're thankful for, the list is going to grow. As you do this every day for 2 weeks, the list will get longer, and the things that you are grateful for will become larger. Like you might start out in the beginning of the week, I'm glad someone opened the door for me when I walked into the store today. And then toward the end of the 2 weeks, you may find, I am so thankful for that new job offer that I received. Because you have to switch your energy. And the way you shift that is starting to be thankful. Be in a place of gratitude. So for those of you that this is applying, do your gratitude journal and come back in 2 weeks and tell me how it shifted things for you, because I can't wait to hear how it's going to positively shift things for you. It's going to get you out of this woe is me state, which is where a lot of you are right now. You have card 37, the never-ending story. You feel like you're on a vicious cycle. This is all about self-criticism, drama, unnecessary drama, a wounded ego. It's kind of like a story that we continue to replay in our mind. You see how she's got her hands on her head? It's just like we play it over and over again. Like, I'm not good enough. I always lose out on love. No one wants me. I can't ever make anything work. Everything just falls apart. That old story, that old tale that we spin, but it's not a true tale. But it's something, because when we are in a state of loss that we're just like, oh, not again, not again. But that's not true. The world's not ending. The sky's not falling. Everything is not ended in your life. You're okay. You're going to be fine. But to shift this, to get yourself out of this vicious cycle that you are in, you have to heal your heart. Because this has been triggered by love, heartbreak. So now you're spiraling down this, path. That's really all about not loving yourself, not thinking that you're worthy of love. And you are worthy of love, and you're amazing. But right now, your self-esteem's pretty low. And you've kind of closed yourself off. Not only have you closed yourself off from this person, but you have closed yourself off from family, friends. A lot of you have become like a hermit. You're just gone inward, hanging out at home all the time, just really turning this into almost like a nightmare for yourself. But it's a nightmare for yourself because you're tearing yourself down. You're making yourself think that you are not good enough. Again, like it's some old never-ending story. So take this time in September to focus on, why is it you feel that you're not worthy of love? What is it that you're telling yourself about love? Because, sometimes, maybe we grew up in a broken household. Maybe, our parents divorced because of cheating, infidelity. And maybe this person, because for some of you, they did leave you for someone else. So maybe you're spinning this old tale in your story of like, men can't be counted on. Men can't be trusted. I'm never going to find a man, and I'm always going to be alone because, men aren't faithful and men are cheaters and liars, and that's what they always do. Well, if that's the story you're spinning and you're telling yourself, that's the story you will weave. That's what you will live. That's what you will experience. So dig deep this month. What are the stories that you're telling yourself about love? For some of you, it could be you're spinning stories to yourself of, maybe your parents were very critical of you. And they made you feel like you just weren't good enough. No matter how hard you tried, no matter how much you invested, it just wasn't good enough. You just never added up. So now you tie that to all other areas in life. I'm not good enough I can't get love. I can't get a job. No one's ever going to want me. No one's ever going to want to be with me because I'm not up to par. I'm not worthy of that. You are worthy of that, but you need to remember that. You need to know that. And it all begins with digging deep, really looking, what is the core story that you are telling yourself about love and connection and abandonment and loneliness and rejection and sorrow? What is keeping you in this state? Because once you see the story that you are telling yourself, then you can recreate and you can change that story. Because then you can begin new. And you can tell yourself better narratives of men can be counted on. Men can be faithful. Men can be loyal. There is such a thing as divine love. I can count on a man. I can rely on him to come and water my garden, water my seeds. I am worthy of love. I am amazing. I am worthy of giving love. I am worthy of receiving love. I am unconditional love. I am able to receive unconditional love. I am able to give unconditional love. Because for some of you, you're going to start digging down deep and you're going to realize that you have walls built up. You won't allow any love in. But that again comes with tearing that wall down and changing your narrative. What's that never-ending story you keep telling yourself? Change it. You don't have to have the same story. Sometimes when I do energy healing sessions, I'll go in and I'll look at someone's past life and I'll know that there's like a thread similarity. So, you know, maybe there's some infidelity that's run, maybe they've been cheated on in multiple lifetimes or something, but there's this thread. They've got this story. Why do some work to recreate that story so that they actually believe the opposite? That's what you need to do in September. Most of you can do it on your own. If you need a little help, call on Archangel Raphael. Archangel Raphael does healing. Always call on Jesus. He's an ultimate healer. And call on God. And then you just call on all the, God's angels that are watching over you to help you, especially as healing angels, help you shift that story, change that story. Some of you may be guided to do some energy healing, but most of you can do it on your own. And it's really just taking that time to delve in deep. And if you're here in Ohio, it's so cold, you might want to go inside and snuggle up in a blanket and just start it today. So let's see here. Your next card you have is a sense of humor. I know you're probably thinking Archangel Michael's got jokes. I tell him that all the time. But this is part of shifting your energy, getting yourself out of this state of sadness and despair. There is a prayer on the bottom. Thank you for helping me see the humor in the situation so that I can lovingly laugh at human nature. I am willing to view my experience in a new light in order to attract love and healing energy. Do something to make yourself laugh. It's going to, how you've got to be thankful for the things that you have. Abundance, blessings, to flip that switch. The other thing you need to do to flip that switch, you need to get yourself out of this negative, depressed, sad state. The way you do that is you start to laugh. You start to have fun. You can watch funny movies. You can watch funny sitcoms. You can dance. But do something that makes you laugh. Now, if you don't have time to dedicate to a whole 2-hour movie or a half-hour sitcom, or, most sitcoms now are really heavy. I don't know how they would make you laugh anyhow, but if you don't have time to do that, it doesn't take a lot. Turn on something on a Sirius radio or on a radio station where they're cracking jokes, or some comedy station. Or you can even do something simple. Like sometimes what I will do if I'm really stressed, I might dance with dogs or do silly things around the house. But I'll be sitting in my car and I'll look over and there'll be like other young kids. And so I'll start making faces. They start making faces back at me. Suddenly I'm cracking up because the kids can come up with some silly faces. And I'm laughing and they're laughing. And then suddenly they get their parents in it. I actually have this red clown nose. Every once in a while, I pull my clown nose out and I just go for a drive. And I do it to adults too. And I like to do it when there's 2 people in the car. So I'll look at the car next to me and the passenger will look at me, and then I'll look away real quick and I'll put my clown nose on, and then I look back toward that passenger, and then they start cracking up. Then they start smacking the person in the car like, hey, look at this chick. Look at her. She's a clown. And I turn away real quick and I take my nose off and I look over and the person's looking like, what? And then they start getting into each other, and then eventually I put it back on and we're all laughing because it's hilarious. I think it's funny. It makes me chuckle. So if I'm really stressed, worried, dealing with a lot, I do that. I laugh. I feel better. You need to start laughing. Don't take life and yourself so seriously. Next card we have is self-respect. Oh, the other thing that they're saying is remove yourself from it. Okay, which we'll cover more with this. But remove yourself from it. Start to, okay. When doing energy healing, it's interesting because I will see some very, very traumatic things. Sometimes I know that it's traumatic because there have been, come on, Allie. There have been a couple of times that I haven't even seen the scenes yet, but the electricity in my house and sometimes houses around me will go down for like a few seconds. And then I'll hear Archangel Michael or Jesus come in and tell me you're about to see something you're not going to like. And those are scenes that are very, very traumatic and brutal, and they're very vivid. I can see very traumatic rape, murder scenes, and I'm an empath, so I pick up on people's feelings and emotions. But it's amazing when I do the healing work, because even though sometimes it bothers, obviously, my soul when I'm being warned I'm not going to like what I'm about to see, and electricity goes down in my house for a few seconds. It's because at a soul level, it breaks my soul and my heart to see that people can be that cruel. Humans can be that cruel. But I don't connect with it emotionally. Like I can see scenes, and for the most part, the other scenes, even though they're also still very traumatic, rape and all these things happening, and physical abuse, and I see these things, I see them extremely vividly and clear. They don't pull me in emotionally. It's like watching a movie. It's like watching it from a distance. I'm emotionally separated from it. So for some of you, emotionally separate yourself from this situation and really look at it kind of like you're looking at like a movie. Really look at it, because then you can also, you might be able to find some humor in it. But even if very serious of heartbreak, that gives you a balanced, clear perspective. Kind of like, so excited to jump into it, you haven't done your evaluation of the give and take. But you can look at it clearly and be like, oh, why? I see now things that I can change in the future. Oh, I see what, next time I need to make sure he's watering the garden. Next time, you know what? I shouldn't just jump into and push a plan to start a garden with him, because he really wasn't into it. He just kind of looked at me like, I don't want to plant tomatoes. You really? But he didn't say anything, so I thought he was excited. But next time I'm going to be more into evaluating and see, like, is his heart in it? Does he want to plant a garden with me? Does he want to have ripe tomatoes? But you can look at it objectively because you've removed yourself emotionally from it. Do that. That'll help you. Last thing we have is self-respect. The prayer on the bottom is, Dear God and angels, thank you for helping me see myself as you see me through the eyes of love. Thank you for honoring and respecting me. Please guide me to do the same for myself, and grant me the courage to speak up on my own behalf. I ask for your protection in all of my relationships so that I am surrounded by loving and kind people. You're being advised to start respecting yourself, to know your worth, to know your value.